What up, everyone? Welcome back to Financial Education and Business. Today, we're going to be covering a very specific topic regarding power and power demand in the AI cryptocurrency demand. As you noticed recently, these two fields have been expanding very significantly. And recently, I was just looking at a video regarding a Senate questioning some of the largest CEOs in the AI industry: Sam Altman, AMD CEO, Lisa Su, and the CEO for Microsoft, and CoreWeave. And they were just answering some questions in front of Senate. And I decided, you know what? Maybe I need to make a video. I need to make a list of companies. And as you can see, this video was about 2 weeks ago. On that same day, I saw that on May 11th, I posted this. And since then, all these industries have just exploded. I just want to also add that even since then, there's an additional fact that came out on the weekend. The president came out and said he declares a national emergency for energy, practically for energy, saying that, you know what, we need more energy to be built in the United States. But the authority vested to the president include the National Emergency Act. So Section 1 purpose: the energy and critical minerals such as uranium, identification, leasing, development and product, transportation, refining, and generation capacity in the United States are all far too inadequate to meet our national needs. We need reliable, diversified, and affordable supply of energy to drive our national manufacturing, transportation, agriculture, and defense industry, and to sustain the basics of modern life and military preparedness caused by harmful and short-sightedness policies previously previous administration. So practically, he's kind of highlighting here that the energy security is an increasingly critical threat for global competition. So the United States president practically set a national emergency on a Sunday, I believe, and said that we need to start. That was the 20th, and then I believe this came out later that day. He kind of said, you know what, we have an emergency out here, and I'm going to declare that we're going to start developing more and more energy within the United States, which is crazy news. I was not expecting the president to add on top of this after I made my post, but since then the whole industry has just been taken off to the upside. And I just want to reiterate that this industry is not going to stop growing. It's going to keep going, especially as the demand for AI and as the Senate individuals in the Senate are just really in this video, in this hearing, they're just asking all these industry leaders, what do you need from us and how we can support you? And all I heard across the board was, we need more power. We need more power as we want to influence the world, and we want our rules to be projected and our regulatory system to be projected in the world. We need to have the power and energy to be able to run all these AI infrastructure so that we can service the world. Because, well, I think they said about a very minority, such a small portion of the world is actually populated in America, and we need to get AI to the rest of the world. So in this Senate, they were talking about that, and I decided to just go over just a little bit of the power industry, and here are some of the companies that I think are going to do really well in the coming AI boom and crypto or blockchain boom that we're going to have. So some of the things that I really took away was that having nuclear power it's from what I saw, these are large, very large projects that is really easy to lose a lot of money in, and these nuclear power plants take a very, very long time to develop. And obviously there's a lot of people that are very environmentally conscious, and they really don't want coal power plants, and they want to move to maybe a more neutral way of servicing the world with electricity. And so then I thought, okay, well, in this case, then, like, these small modular reactors can actually be used to develop a lot of this power. And these small reactors can actually be placed within a specific location. Think about like a data center. that consumes a whole bunch of power for these data centers. But instead of plugging into this huge power cell somewhere, they can build these small power reactors right at the data center and actually use that power, which is really impressive. And I think it's probably the future of the power industry is going to grow. It's not going to be just nuclear reactors. Nuclear reactors have known to be very money wasters, something that take projects that take very, very long time to actually execute. So I wanted to just cover some of these new industries that are coming in and kind of go over this video, and so just look at some of these stocks as well. So I'm just going to pick just a couple of points on this video where they kind of discuss supply chain or the power industry. So if I go to minute 9:36, so we'll watch this part.
In the United States of America and bringing more of the supply chain back to the United States of America to build on a future leadership that we already have, I believe, in the computing power. But we also need to understand that we have to move forward on the CHIPS Act, like the University of Washington $10 million grant on multi-design sets for chips, the very large-scale integrated designs I'm sure that Dr. Su will tell us about today. But the fact that the United States has to continue to lead on the future designs and the implementation of that also requires us to be very smart about data centers, about sources of electricity, and how we're going to build that supply that could be up to 12% of electricity demand in the very near future. So how do we do that? I've noticed in each of your testimonies, you all explain this, but I'm also very proud that Microsoft has already signed an agreement with one company, Fusion Energy in Everett, Washington, for a power source supply. Maybe Mr. Altman in his testimony will talk about this, but that they hope to get very near future energy source from that. So clearly the United States leading on electricity and development. So Mr. Smith, very much appreciate in your testimony the accentuation on the fact that the United States of America needs hundreds of thousands of new electricians, something we should all want to get behind. The fact that having electricity and the electricians and the data source centers here in the United States and in other places will be key.
To support the rapid deployment of AI infrastructure, America must ensure abundant and affordable supplies of energy. Careful reforms in permitting and regulatory processes are necessary to accelerate infrastructure projects, facilitate more rapid construction, interconnections, and energy for data centers. Third is global market access. Maintaining America's leadership also means ensuring our technology has fair access to global markets. Export controls and trade agreements can be calibrated to both address national security risks and support global diffusion of American AI technology. And finally, public-private partnerships and workforce development. America's unique advantage in the AI race is enhanced by our powerful tradition of public-private partnership. CoreWeave is proud to co-found the New Jersey AI Hub with Microsoft, Princeton University, and the New Jersey Economic Development Initiative.
What are the 5 words you need to see from our government to make sure we win this AI race?
More electricians, that's 2 words. Broader AI education.
And no using ChatGPT as a phone a friend.
Thank you. I would say that we need to focus on streamlining the ability to build large things.
Policies to help us run faster in the innovation race.
Allow supply chain sensible policy.
That was good. So what I hear there is something pretty similar to the races we've won before. Nuclear energy, for example, the Germans and Austrians really led the innovation around that, but we won the race because we put a massive government effort collaborating with our universities and others to win that race.
Quickly just confirm that I've heard what you said pretty unanimously, which is we need dramatically more power generation in this country. Is that correct? All right. So, Dr. Su, you just recently did a partnership with TSMC to manufacture your chips here in America. Thank you. I think it's a little bit long overdue. I wish we had done more of that earlier. Are those semiconductor fabs high energy users?
Thank you, Senator. We are very pleased with our efforts together with the government on bringing more manufacturing back to the United States. To your question, certainly semiconductor manufacturing plants are high energy users, and we do need more power for both manufacturing as well as for data centers, as you mentioned.
And without chips, this just doesn't work. Like, if we don't have the highest performance chips made here in the United States, this is not going to happen here, correct?
We absolutely need the highest performing chips, and we also need the entire ecosystem for chip manufacturing. So wafers are one piece, but there are many other pieces as well.
And are those chips powered by solar power and windmills?
Today, they're not, but I think there are opportunities to certainly.
So the ability to build very large solutions to the computing infrastructure component of this is an area that we're going to struggle with from a permitting and building large projects to be able to deliver the power to allow those building artificial intelligence to continue to move as fast as they can in the race that we're in.
Mr. Smith?
I think the United States has a lead today in what is a close race and a race that will likely remain close. The number one factor that will define whether the United States or China wins this race is whose technology is most broadly adopted in the rest of the world. This is a global market, and it will be defined, as technology markets typically are, by network effects. 18% of the people in the world live in China, 4% live in the United States, 78% live somewhere else.
The ability for the U.S. to deploy new energy generation capacity and upgrade its grid, it's in many ways the key to the race against China. Energy is how we can win, and it's also how we can lose. Permitting in this country takes too long. China's command and control system means that they will not fail to deploy the energy needed to achieve the scale necessary to develop the most advanced models, which will drive all to the benefit of AI. So I'm glad to be working with Senator Lummis on the FREE Act, which would set up a permit by rule structure, which would let large projects meet comprehensive standards at the front end instead of dragged out on a case-by-case process. So we all want to protect the environment, and we all want to maintain U.S. economic and technological leadership. So, Mr. Intrator, what has CoreWeave's experience been in contracting power? And are you concerned that the current permitting system can make it hard for the U.S. to achieve capital investment and the scale needed to win this AI race?
So, as you said, access to power, access to scale power is certainly one of the keys to our ability to win this race. There are others, but it is one that I spend a lot of time thinking about. I separated the comment into access to power and access to scale power because I do think that we are moving towards a period of this race where the size, the magnitude of the infrastructure that is being required to move our artificial intelligence, the labs that are building it, the companies that are building it forward at the velocity that's necessary is going to be a specific challenge that really requires a lot of thought. We have a huge part of our organization focused on not just getting access to power, but getting access to the size and scale of power that's going to be able to build the infrastructure, at the scale of Abilene or close to it, in order to, allow this to move forward. It's tough, right? And it will get harder as we move through time because the existing infrastructure that does have opportunities and has some level of elasticity is going to be consumed. And once that is consumed, you're going to get down to kind of a first principle. How do we get power online now? And that's really going to be challenging within the regulatory environment as it currently is configured.
Thank you. Mr. Smith, a similar question. How is Microsoft trying to secure power for its data centers? I mean, we read about that in the news recently, but what does federal policy need to focus on to make sure that we don't lose this race because we can't get enough energy?
Well, we invest to bring more electricity generation onto the grid and then to bring it through the grid to our data centers. We probably have more permitting applications in more countries than quite possibly any company on the planet. Last time I looked at it, it was 872 applications in more than 40 countries. The number one challenge in the United States when it comes to permitting, interestingly enough, is not local, it's not state, it is the federal wetlands permit that is administered by the Army Corps of Engineers. We can typically get our local and state permits done in about 6 to 9 months. The wetlands permit is taking often 18 to 24 months. Both the outgoing Biden administration and the incoming Trump administration have focused on this, but if we could just solve that, we could accelerate a lot here in this country.
Utah would aspire to lead out with data centers and advanced technologies. Could you just address for states and Utah specifically what it is that makes them attractive to projects like Stargate?
Yeah, and I know that we're having productive discussions about some potential sites in Utah. Power, cooling, fast permitting process, labor force that can build these things, the electricians, the construction workers, the entire stack. A state that wants to partner with us to move quickly. Texas really has been unbelievable on this. I think that would be a good thing for other states to study, but we'd be excited to try to figure something out.
Thank you. I think I could speak for our state leaders. We would be excited as well. But as you know, this also brings challenges, and one of those challenges are the demands for energy. And what's your thoughts on how we protect ratepayers and kind of put a little bit of a firewall between them?
I mean, I think the best way is just much more supply, more generation. I think if you make it easy to reasonably profitably create a lot of additional generative capacity, the market will do that. That will not only not drive up rates because of the AI workload, hopefully it'll drive it down for everything. And we've talked a lot about the importance of energy to AI. Energy is just really important to quality of life. One of the things that seems to me the most consistent throughout history is every time that the cost of energy falls, the quality of life goes up. And so doing a lot to make energy cheaper, in the short term, I think this probably looks like more natural gas, although there are some applications where I think solar can really help. In the medium term, I hope it's advanced nuclear, fission and fusion. More energy is important well beyond AI. In some sense, we have these dual revolutions going of AI and energy, the ability to have new ideas and the ability to get them done, to make them happen in the physical world where we all live. Like, these are kind of the limiting reagents of prosperity, and let's have a lot more.
Okay, I'm just gonna stop it there. This is a long video, mostly of them just testifying here. As you can see, the question is always kind of, what do you need? And the answer seems to be, we need power. And in the power in the power value chain, supply chain, there's different industries that kind of create power or find ways to innovate power so that to the end user. So as you can see, my main focus here is going to be these three. I believe there's a lot of new innovation that can happen here. It's going to be the faster moving industry. As you can see, there's going to be a lot of power that's going to be in demand. Nuclear power is really going to be a heavy lift. There's the whole thing with just with people's past experience with nuclear power and the environmental impact that a lot of companies kind of see nuclear causing. And so that's why I'm thinking these SMRs and micro reactors really playing a big role in this AI and digital assets or blockchain industry. So this is just the electricity value chain and the companies that are kind of playing a role. Recently, you probably heard a lot about AOLO. Probably heard a lot about any of these companies. OKLO. This is one of the other companies that is gonna, I believe, gonna perform pretty well here. I also have just created a quick list of companies that I think are gonna play some role. Some of them are OKLO. Some of them are these the smaller reactors that I talked about here, and the SMRs and micro reactors and fusion reactors, and mostly focus on that. And as you can see, I've listed quite a few here, and they are still, the market caps are still quite small. This one is 96 billion, 26 billion, 7 billion. This one is still small. There's some pretty big investors. So within this one, there is a couple of large investors on this company. Like if you look at, as I believe Sam Altman is a very big investor in here. So who is on the board of Sam Altman and a few other big people in the AI industry. Let's see, is Sam Altman on the team? It should be on here. Sam Altman was previously chair of the board of OKLO, but he stepped down from an opposition. So from the position in April 25. So his departure allowed Altman to explore new strategic partnerships, including the OpenAI and other AI companies. So obviously it makes sense why Sam Altman stepped down, because you can't really be on another publicly traded company. Being on the board, sometimes that creates conflict of interest. He stepped down, but the fact that he was part of the board, he helped kind of get this company get started, really says a lot. I mean, if you can just, one of the largest AI companies actually was on the board of this, had to step down due to conflict of interest. If OpenAI was ever looking for someone to provide some kind of energy to them in regards to within this SMR or micro reactors, they're going to end up looking at a company like this. So I think this company is obviously really done very well. They've really performed very well over the course of like couple of days. They've gone up like 50-60%, 50-60%, I believe. I don't know if now is it Inc. stock price today. Let me see if I can pull them up. That is definitely not the. It's worth just looking at some of these companies. I believe this one definitely has, a really big potential here. As you can see, the stock has gone up 10% today, 5% after hours, $5, and it's gone down after hours a little bit. 30% over the past 5 days, and 120% the past month. 6 months, 145 and 54% over the month year to date, and 1 year performance is over almost 400%. So as you can see, this company is growing, and this is true for a lot of the companies that are within this industry here. And I believe this is a great potential. I mean, if you're looking to get into some companies within this industry, this is a good group. It's a decent group to look at. This Camco is a decent company. Westinghouse, they're developing. I don't know if they're public. Camco, Camco is public, but Westinghouse is not. It's not yet, but I believe they are a subsidiary of Camco. So obviously that is a great potential there. This is an ETF that is mainly focused on the power industry. Mainly focused on this SMR power industry. A global ETF focuses on uranium mining and nuclear energy. So if you're afraid of just get into one company, you can get into one specific one ETF that focuses in the overall industry. As you can see, Key Holding, Capco, Next Gen, Kaiser, whatever, Uranium Energy Corporation, News. So this company, also, I believe I might have them on the list right here. They're pretty good. They still haven't really produced anything, but they are seen as one of the top competitors in this industry. So this is what I wanted to cover in this video. If you liked it, make sure that you give it a like, subscribe if this is your first time, and share it with somebody that you know. If you want me to cover any other topics, let me know. Today we just talked about the nuclear industry, and next time we may cover something else that's really interesting as well. I'm going to be specifically, in the coming days, I'm going to focus on just future industries. It might be like space. It might be, as you can see, these SMR, micro reactor industry. I might cover maybe even more specific companies, Bitcoin reserve companies that are starting to pop up here and there. So that's all I got for today. Have a great day. Peace.